where, let's understand this. I mean, it's a bit tricky. So where before edit criteria was not getting fulfilled, criteria not fulfilled, after edit criteria fulfilled.
Yeah. So you cannot, call this workflow every time you edit. So whenever you are editing and it is actually meeting a particular criteria, only then you can, evaluate the workflow, right?
Yeah. So let's understand some use cases that will. So whenever we are moving from non-matching criteria, it's
Mm-hmm.
like thumb rule, moving from non-matching to matching. Only for those edits, workflow will come and evaluate the record. So let's understand some use cases. It's bit many times I have seen people struggling in this. So let's take some use case. Let's see. Let's see, like I have created a workflow where I have set evaluation criteria as second. And my criteria is status equals active, right? So now let's say I have created record. My workflow will evaluate created record with status equals active. Workflow will evaluate, right? Because it is created and every time edited. So workflow will evaluate. And
can you repeat this, Sumit? What is the criteria now?
yeah, criteria is that workflow will fire actions if the status is active. So
Right.
I have created a record with status as
Status
active.
active.
And
Okay.
criteria is number 2. Number 2 means created and every time edited. So
Okay.
what should be the output? Workflow will evaluate the record and fire the action, right?
Right.
Okay, so after that, on the same record, I have edited the source from referred to direct. So what should be the action this time?
It will evaluate and the action will be taken, right?
It will evaluate and action will be taken, right?
Taken.
Because
Yeah.
for all the edits, my
For all
workflow
the
will
edits.
evaluate and already status is active. So
Right.
action will be fired, right?
Right.
But let's take the same scenario in number 3. Let's make it number 3. And let's remove this. Now I have created a record with status as active. So what should be the output?
It will evaluate and action will be taken.
It will evaluate and action will be taken. Very good. So after that, I am making some edits. I have modified it from, I have modified source from direct to referred. So what should be the output?
Now it will not evaluate, right?
It will not evaluate because it was already fulfilling the criteria. But my condition is moving from non-matching to matching, but it was already matching.
Right.
So let's proceed for this use case. Now let's say I change status to inactive. What should be the output?
It will still not evaluate.
Not evaluate. Right. Very good. So now I am changing status to active from inactive. What should be the output this time?
Now it will, evaluate and
It will evaluate and action will be taken. Right. Yeah. Perfect. So that is how there will be the difference in the behavior that we have seen in number 2 and number 3. So
Okay, so
if,
one quick thing, Sumit. So here in this example, you have given criteria as status equals active, right? So is this what we set up in that
right,
all the
right,
way in the
right.
top, the point one criteria?
Right, right. So while
Okay.
creating workflow, we set the criteria that this workflow will only fire, will only fire the actions if this criteria will met. But when do we need workflow to come and evaluate the criteria, right? Workflow has to come and see whether the record is fulfilling the criteria or not. So we need to define a criteria and then we need to define the event. So if these two
Okay.
things are clear, I think half of the battle is won for
Okay.
workflow. So let's see the implementation. So, and last point, we are discussing about action, word action again. So what all types of actions are possible in workflow? One is field update. So say based on value of one field, we can set the value of another field. Let's say I am creating a patient and I want that if status is active, let's make source equal to direct. Even if I am not providing the value of source, based on the status value, I want source to
Okay.
be direct.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these type of actions I can do with the help of workflow. Second
Okay.
can be email alert. That
Uh-huh.
means I can send email to someone. Let's say I have created an appointment for Amit Malhotra. So as soon as I create an appointment, I want an email to send to his email address. So that's the
Yeah.
second type of action that I can do with the help of workflow. Third can be task. Task is a sort of reminder in Salesforce. Let's say like how we keep reminders in our mobile phones or in our gadgets to do some work. On the similar lines, we create a reminder for a particular user to assign them an action that you have to do this thing by this time.
Right.
So we assign some task to a particular user with the help of this email action. So, and fourth one is nothing but outbound message. So outbound message is flow of information from our system to another system. It's a sort of integration. It's a sort of advanced topic. We normally deal with only field update, email alert, or task. If there is any third party involved, let's say I need to pass the information from my system to your system, or my system to Java, my system to .NET, some other system, I utilize outbound message. But
Okay.
normally we don't go with outbound message very often. It's very rarely used, but we should be aware about this capability as it can be asked in interviews or certifications. So four type of actions are possible. First is field update, second is email alert, third is task, fourth is outbound message.
Message.
So let's start with our first scenario, that is on field update. So very simple. Let's open our project. So there is a fifth requirement here. If no status entered while creation, assign status as active for patient. So
Wait, if no
requirement is clear.
status entered while creation, assign
Assign
status.
as active. So I am creating a patient record and I somehow forget to populate status. So what I
Okay.
want, automatically workflow should set the value of status as active.
Okay.
So how to do that? And let me walk you through the requirement on patient level itself. So let's say I am creating a patient. And like due to any reason, I forgot to select status and I clicked on save. So I want this value to be set as active by default with the help of workflow. So that is my requirement. Any issues in requirement?
No.
Okay. So click on setup. Let's implement this. Search for workflow. Workflow rules. Click continue. New rule. So here I need to define the object on which I am creating workflow. So I am creating workflow on which object?
Patient detail.
Patient detail, right? Let's click on next. Let's give some meaningful name. Set status for patient detail. So just go by the requirement and tell me what should be the evaluation criteria. Like when I want workflow to evaluate the criteria, first, second, or third. Any hint?
Creation first.
While creation first, right? So it should be created. So always go 1-2 times in the requirement, and there should be some hint in the requirement itself, like what should be the evaluation criteria. So my criteria is if no status entered, that means status equals blank, right?
Yeah.
Status equals blank. If status is blank, I want workflow to evaluate the record, but only at the time of creation, not in the time of edit, or the third one, I want at the time of creation, and this is my criteria, right? Any issues till now?
No.
So click on save and next.
But
in the yeah.
But we have not given anyway that when the status
Okay.
is blank, we have to set it as active, right?
Yeah, that is what on this screen we will define action on the next screen. So what action should be? It should be. What do you
Field
feel?
update, right?
Field update, right?
Yeah.
So click on new field update. Set status as active.
Okay.
So which value I need to update? Status value, right? So select status.
Yeah.
What should be the outcome? It should be active. Active, and click on save.
Okay.
Done. So our workflow is completed. Very straightforward, very easy. Just remember to activate it. Click on activate, and workflow is ready. So let's verify this. Let's create a new patient detail record. Let me give name as test workflow 1, 2, 3, 4. Source is referral, and let me click on save. I am not providing status value. Let's click on save. So status is active. That means workflow did its job perfectly fine. So any issues, Anita, till now?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. So next requirement is create a task for case creator, or let's do one thing. Let's cover the 7th one first, and then we'll jump to 6th one. So what I want to send an email to patient email on appointment creation.
Okay.
So I am creating an appointment, and on appointment there is a field called patient email. So I have not created that field yet. Let me quickly create that field. So there is a field in our project. So that is patient email.
Right.
So you have this document with you already?
No.
Okay, I shared that in like in the beginning itself with. So yeah, I mean, just share your email. I'll share these documents with you, or you. I already have your email. Let me check.
Mm-hmm.
So just
You said you'll send this and also the, the table of contents, but
mhm.
I don't think you have. Yeah.
Yeah. So just give your email address, and yeah, just after this call,
Mm-hmm.
I'll make sure to share these so that you can go through this entire project from your end. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll share that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the project, if you can see on appointment, we have two fields, date
Mm-hmm.
and time and patient email.
Yeah.
So let's create a new field. It will be of type patient, type email, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So scroll down, we have email type field. Next, patient email. Next, save. Now the email field is created on appointment, patient email field. It will be visible in next couple of seconds. But just think like I want to send an email to patient. But what should be the body and content of that email? How will we define that? Getting my
Mm-hmm.
point? I need to send email to say a patient called Sumit or Amit. But what should
Right.
be the body? I mean, what should be the
What should
content?
be the content of the email? Yeah.
Right. So that we define in email template.
Okay.
So before creating email alert, I should have template with me ready. So let's create email template that I'll utilize in email alert.
Mm-hmm.
So from setup, click on setup. Email alert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, email template, classic email templates, new template. So here, if you can see, I can create 4 types of email template. First is text, second is HTML, third is custom, fourth is Visual Force. So text is the plain email template with only plain text. If I need to decorate my template with like say some borders, some like some new font styling, something like that, I can
Mm-hmm.
use HTML. If
Mm-hmm.
and I can add my company letterhead. In the custom, I can still use HTML things, but no letterhead is available in custom. And finally, Visual Force, where I need to have a knowledge of programming language. With the help of programming language, I can generate email template. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
go with text only for our demonstration purpose.
Okay.
Click next. Let's give some meaningful name. Appointment. Email template. 14th December. The subject should be an appointment is created for you. This will be
Mm-hmm.
the subject. And body, hi, here I want patient name and appointment is created for you at, here I need to define time. But how to add name and time? That's the main question here. Getting my point?
Mm-hmm.
I need to add the name of patient on the runtime. Like say I am creating a appointment for, let's say, Amit. So I need to add name here, hi Amit, and an appointment is created for you at, and from the appointment date time, I need to fetch the time of appointment and append
Right.
that in the email template. So how to do that? There is a concept of merge field. So
Okay.
here I need to define patient name, right?
Right.
So search for patient fields, scroll down. Here I have patient detail fields, search for name, copy this and paste here.
Oh, okay.
On the similar lines, I need to get the appointment
Time.
time, right? So how to do that? Now
Appointment
you
detail
tell me the
fields.
path.
Yeah, appointment
Appointment
detail fields.
detail fields. Okay.
Select field.
I need that
Appointment date time.
appointment date time, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. So just paste it here and my body is ready. So what this small thing will do, it will append on the runtime. Like say I am
Right.
creating on the runtime, it will fetch the values and it will append here. So that
Right.
is how it will work. And click
Hmm.
on save. So my template is ready. Now I'll create a workflow and I'll use this template. So my requirement is when I create an appointment for a patient, I want him to be notified using email alert. So click
Yeah.
on workflow. I'll be creating a new workflow this time. So this time workflow will be on which object?
Appointment detail.
Appointment detail, right? It will be send email on appointment detail. It would be created.
Creating. Yeah.
Now,
We can also use created and every time it's edited, right?
no. So
No.
actually there is I was about to share this point. So never, if there is a email communication, never go by with second or third option.
Oh,
There,
okay.
I mean, there are some instances where people created this with the help of second or third. So it resulted into spamming the email box. So like every time I am editing the appointment, an email was being shot to patient. Our main aim is to send it only once, right?
Okay. Okay.
At the time of creation. So always
Creation.
remember this. Whenever there is a this kind of sensitive requirements, never go with second or third.
Okay.
So now what should be the criteria? That is the point. My requirement is for all the appointments, I want to send an email to patient. So are we able to identify any criteria that if my record is fulfilling this, then only I want workflow to evaluate the record, right?
Right.
Can you think of
Uh,
anyone
the,
valid?
the
Can
date
I
time
say
field should have a future, I mean, it should have a value.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Let me, if why that field is not there yet. Just give me 1 minute. So I created a field called patient email. So can I say that if there is a value in patient email field, then only I want workflow to evaluate, right? If email is
Right.
not there, then
Right. Right. Yeah.
how will my workflow work, right?
Yeah.
So why that field is not coming? Just give me 1 minute. I created that field, and in the Lightning, sometime it takes couple of minutes to make the field available. So I created this field, appointment patient email.
Yeah.
So just let me verify whether this is on layout. Yeah, that is there on the layout. Yeah, sometimes it takes a couple of minutes for a field to be visible in Lightning. So let me open this again. I have refreshed the screen. So I'll walk you through like so how to identify the valid criteria. So say I am creating a appointment, and while creating appointment, I have forgotten to add the value in this field. Will my workflow be able to send the email?
No.
No, right? So can I say that when this field is not blank, then only my
Right.
workflow should evaluate the record, otherwise it should not, right?
Right.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's appointment detail patient email not equal to blank. Save and next. If this criteria is being met, workflow will do what? It will send an email. Click on new email alert. Just give some meaningful name. Send email for appointment detail.
One quick thing, Sumit.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the appointment detail object, if we make the patient email as mandatory, then we won't need the thing right now.
Right. There can be like couple of ways. So
Right. Yeah.
I mean that is also perfectly fine. Like the way which you are thinking. So yeah, I mean that can also be a probable solution. But
Okay. But
going
if it's
forward,
not there, then we'll definitely
right.
need a value.
Right. And
Yeah.
going forward, what I will do with this requirement. So now I am doing it in the lengthy way. In the next maybe tomorrow I'll translate this with the help of like how we can fetch the value directly from patient itself. Let me tell you what I'm trying. So let's say I am creating a record of appointment for Sumit. So why there should be a need to populate the email manually, right? That email is already there on patient, right?
Right. Yeah.
So today we are going with the plain lengthy process, but
Okay.
I'll give this requirement to you to think about that, how we can fetch the value from patient itself, and then we will make some changes in this requirement. So for now, let's go with this criteria, but definitely this is not the, I would say, the best possible way to do that. Normally, we don't ask users to populate such things like email or because that thing is already there on patient. So the next version of this requirement will be something different. I'll give you that to brainstorm and then we'll see that tomorrow. So getting my point?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So, and which email template I'll be using? Appointment email template, 14th of December. Now, who should be the recipient of this email?
The patient.
Email field, patient email. And if I want some additional people to be notified, I can add their email here. Otherwise, if I only want patient to be notified, he will be notified and click on save.
Okay.
Click on done. Click activate. So I'll be creating an appointment. Let's test this. Test Sumit. Let's add date and time. Let's say it is of tomorrow, 11:15. Let me add my email address here just to demonstrate. So now I should be getting an email, right? As soon as I'll be creating an appointment, I should be getting an email in my email address, right? Because this is the value that I'm populating here. So let's click on save. So let's wait for the email to be visible. Yeah, everything looks good. We should be getting email. Let's wait for that. Yeah, an appointment is created for you. Let me open this. An appointment name is appended successfully. Date and time is appended successfully. That means our workflow
Okay.
is working as expected without any issues.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I want from you to try, the other two scenarios, I'll not cover them today because I don't, I want you to like understand everything in efficient way. Let's not cover everything again. So now what changes I want in this requirement? So currently there is a obligation, or I would say we are imposing the agent, whosoever is creating the appointment for us, to manually populate this field. But what I want this field to be populated from the patient's email. If I open a patient record, let me open that.
So
So you
you're
can,
saying as soon as I enter the patient's name, that field should automatically pull the email.
right, because there is an email field already on the patient, right?
Patient, right.
If we go by our
Got it. Yeah.
project, we have email on the patient. Then why to populate that field again, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So I'll leave it blank, and I want user to leave it blank, and I want that field to be populated from email itself, from patient itself. So, and then I want patient to be notified. From there on, I want the same flow, same workflow to do the job. But this is the additional thing that I want you to try and you to brainstorm from your side, and then we'll see that tomorrow how to make it happen. So let's practice it from your side, and we'll see this tomorrow, and then the remaining scenarios for task and outbound message, we'll cover that tomorrow. So just practice this from your side and let me know in case of any issues.
Okay.